I'm Ethan Becker, and I've designed I'm the owner of Becker Knife and Tool, and I also obviously the designer of most of the knives. And this is the knife that got me into business. It's a bk4 Machax, now made by tka-bar, and it's a combination of a Case World War II survival machete handle and my version of the kukri blade. It's an extremely fast blade in the hand, and if you use a snap cut, which is basically like that, you'll note that it ends up being an extension of your arm. If you hit something right in here with a sweet spot, and you think hitting through, it will move material. I have beheaded a deer with one blow. I've skinned it first. It's still a very viable design. It's over 30 years old.
Okay.
And this is the best-selling knife in the line, and probably has become the signature knife. It's a BK2 Companion. It's a full 1/4-inch thick spine. It's ground high enough that you get enough slice. You can make fuzz sticks pretty easy, and you can baton through anything other than steel that's harder than it is. And it's got a nice flat spot here for driving it into things, so it doesn't interfere with either your hand or the grip. And there are a number of people that like it almost as much as I do. It really, it's probably the best all-around knife in the line. The late Chuck Carwan said it was the perfect knife to take along if you had to field dress a Buick. And it has field dressed more than one Buick. And it's a great, if you got to have one knife, it'll do. You know, you can, it's a little awkward, it's not the world's best skinner, but it will do the skinning. It's good at fieldcraft stuff. And you'll note that every knife that I've got, with the exception of this knife, the blade comes as close to the handle just about as you can. Because whether it's a knife that's really designed for doing fieldcraft or a knife that's not, you can get all Becker knives are capable of doing real close in, easy and easily. I mean, this is a 9.5 1/4-inch blade, and you know what? If you choke up on it, it really is capable of doing fine work because the balance is so good. This, when I was working with Camillus asked me to design a knife to replace the Marine combat knife, and this certainly is not a replacement for it, but it is my version of that knife. And it was designed from the bottom up to be a soldier's knife, and mostly a knife that is for good fieldcraft. I always figure that what a soldier is an armed camper with an attitude problem.
Nice.
So the knife certainly is capable of thicking somebody, but what it mostly excels at is the mundane task that a soldier uses the knife for most of the time, which is opening ration boxes and doing this and that and one thing and another. and it's the incomparable 1095 Crovan with the Tujimoto specified Mar tempering, and it's just a heck of a nice knife. Not the world's best chopper, but it's always, to get a really good chopper, you need weight. And today, with what, 100+ pound rucks, nobody needs an extra 6 pound chopping thing. You just don't. This is a collaboration with Jerry Fisk, who was it's a national living treasure knife maker in the United States. Unfortunately, he's going to have that name until he croaks. And but this is his Magnum camp knife, and it excels at everybody in a camping group needs a knife like this. Because when it comes time to chop the onions and slice the salami and cut the bread and all that stuff, somebody ought to have something like this with them. But it does chop. But it's very much like 223 versus 308. Both will get the job done, but this uses velocity rather than mass. And it's a lot of the guys that own them, their wives are like, "Give me that." So this knife is the BK9. It's a 9-inch Bowie. We call it the combat Bowie. Again, it has a very high flat grind, but it has both balance and it's a little way forward, so that it makes a much better chopper than the other last two knives we looked at. It was inspired by the knife that Bill Moran came up with for Ken Warner when he went to Vietnam as a journalist for the National Rifle Association. And it certainly is. I had one of those Bowies that was made by Blackjack, and it was just a hell of a knife. So I said, let me see what I can do with it.
It's a beautiful knife.
Great chopper. Go through a 1-inch rope like nobody's business. It's thin enough so that if you're dealing with, whether you're in the desert and you're chopping cactus and trying to make up a sun shelter, get some shade, whatever, to the jungle, it works really well in all those places. We've got a little neck knife here. This is the Becker Necker. This is the second best-selling knife in the line. It has it not only will it makes a wonderful skinner. It excels at the field craft chores, making snares and doing all of that stuff. It's strong enough that I've actually taken this knife and I decided to try and break one day, just to see what it was made out of. The early days with K-bar, and I was suspicious. So I took it and drove it into a piece of 4x4 white oak until it wouldn't pop out anymore. And then I drove it in, and it bent over 45 degrees before it snapped.
Wow.
And the second time we did it with this blade, which the blade's the same, the handle's different.
I have a customer over here looking for the laser-edged new Beckers. Is this one right here? It's right here. That's laser-edged.
Yep. And I had to use a cheater bar to break this one.
Wow.
Okay? It broke. I'm German. I can break anything. But it bent. The reason we had to use a cheater bar is it bent, which was designed to do. And I couldn't get a good enough grip to break it. I mean, I'm not trying to oversell a product.
Right. Stating facts.
So, anyway, these are two guys are new this year. This is the knife I've been looking for since I was 14 years old. I did not know I was looking for this knife when I was 14, but I bought a Puma Hunter's Friend, and it was my go-to knife even after I started making my own knife. And it was just a perfect size, perfect length of blade. It had a high grind, and these in production will be ground all the way to the top. Super slicey, really excels at little bow sticks and making all the field craft stuff. Doesn't weigh much. I spent 10 years on this handle.
Wow.
I'm slow, okay, but I'm certain. And this is a really ergonomically, I hate to use the term ergonomics because it's so overused, but I know it fits my hand perfectly. And I have a medium to large size hand, so it works for most everybody. And it's, I'm actually a little bit worried when I get the ones that are cut all the way to the top that I'll quit using all my other knives. Because it really,
not good, huh? Wow.
50 years I've been waiting for this knife.
That's saying something. Wow.
So,
What do you call that one? What do you call that?
It's a short drop point.
bk-16.
bk-16.
Nice knife. Wow.
And this is the same, basically the same blade length, and but it has a 1217 K-bar clip point. People either love clip points or they love drop points, and there's no sense in trying to convince somebody that they should buy a clip point when they like a drop point. So why not make one for everybody?
Right.
So, and this is a Jerry Fisk, a mini Jerry Fisk camp knife. The world's very best steak knife.
Wow.
And again, a great camp utility knife. And if you're skinning a bunch of animals, you want this knife.
That looks like a good skinner.
This is the new sheath. And it's got the molly attachments. This is the belt loop, which is you can get on and off. And to help along with the Velcro, there's a snap so that the Velcro doesn't wear out real fast. Pouch big enough for a small sharpener, fire stick, and fishing kit. And the double attachments you need for jumping, and plus there's a place so that you can lash the thing down if you're super paranoid, which could never be described to me. But anyway, it's and this is a great little package. I mean, to me, this is this blade and that. You can get done just about anything you really need to get done.
Looks like the ultimate package right there.